Okay, back to work. Looking forward to the week. Had a good morning so far, good walkthrough. Get dialed in on Miami. Obviously, a good football team, explosive offense. A very good defense. Coached by Vic Fangio, and obviously a great defensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel's done a great job, obviously, with that team and with that offense. Listen, we respect this team a lot, but this is really about us, right? This is about us. So, we're just focused in and dial in on, how do we get better and go play our best game this week. I'll open it up from there.
Reich, it was following the Seahawks game that coordinator Thomas Brown that you want to build upon those 5 explosive plays that happened in that game. Since then, Burks had a game where he had 0, beyond 20, and then just last week he had futures right at that mark. What's the disconnect between him saying that's an objective and then actually that coming to fruition for you guys?
I thought we had, fair question. There was a game where we had 0. It was, I think that was against the Vikings. Is that true? Yeah, pretty sure, where they were. We just got to be better than that as coaches. We got to put our guys in position to make explosive plays. I am really encouraged, as I said the other day, I thought the pass game looked pretty good this past week. And there's a lot of good things in there to build on. So, I'm encouraged. There were some, in the explosive plays, as we all know, the league uses that 20-yard standard for an explosive play. That's usually the category. So there's still a lot of chunk plays in that 15 to 20, there's chunk plays in there. I think we're working towards it. I'm excited about it. I think we're heading in the right direction. I think, this team that we're playing this week, Vic Fangio, what's he known for? Limiting explosive plays. He's going to play a shell defense. Vic traditionally has been a guy, keep everything in front of you. Make them go the long road. Make them go the long road. That's been Vic Fangio's MO for a long time. And, and he's going to try to outplay you and outdiscipline you by playing that shell, keeping everything in front, and, see if you can sustain long drives. Our job is to, A, sustain long drives when we need to, and B, find ways, even though he's playing a shell defense and trying to limit the explosives, we still have to find explosives by how we scheme and then by what our players do, run after catch in that way as well.
Any chance that Raheem Blackshear gets activated this week to kind of, give a spark to that running game that you guys have been missing so far?
There's a possibility. We're looking at things. We got to see how Miles came out of the game with a little something. So we'll see how he progresses this week. And Miles is a pretty tough guy, so I'm not predetermined anything at this point. But but I don't mind telling you, I don't think Miles is going to practice today. So Raheem will get some looks today, be an opportunity, and then we'll just play that out during the week. Miles may be back. He may not be back, not sure yet.
Do we know what it is with Miles? Where the injury is?
It's a shoulder.
Frank, I know this is probably a better question for Evero, but when you look at this team and you look at your third down percentage, it's very good. It's second in the league. But teams are running at you guys and getting big plays on first and second down. You've been able to mitigate the deep pass for the most part. When you look at how that's reflected your run game success, what do you think is the disconnect there?
I think that's a great question. And I think that'll and I know you guys get tired of me saying this because we're getting close to where I can't say this anymore. But I think as we get a little bit larger sample size, that'll merge into be more consistent. But I do think, just to build on your point, Mike, I do think a key for us this game is when you look at the Dolphins, they average fewer third downs a game than any other team. Why is that? Because they don't get to third down. They go first down, second down, first down, second. They only average 9 third downs a game. So we are a good third down defense. No matter what the stats say, no matter, our third down defense is good. Do we need to be better in our run defense? Yeah, no question. What it probably tells me off the cuff is some of those runs are explosive runs that are ended up in too many of those are ended up in first down again and kind of resetting the chains. When your run defense is going well, you're putting teams in more third downs over the course of a game. So, I think if we play well on defense this game and well on offense, the Dolphins will have more third downs than they normally have. If we don't play well, they'll have their average 9 or 10 third downs a game. Our goal is to make them be in third down more, and we can play third down defense.
Well,
There
since-
was a report Sunday that you guys wanted to simplify the offense for Bryce, that maybe he'd thrown too much at him too soon. Was that the case, and do you feel like Sunday was a product of maybe improvement because of simplifying?
A fair question. Every coach would tell you when you're 0-5, what's the answer? Do more? No. The answer is do less. Every coach, the history of the NFL, hey, we're 0-5, we're 0-3, we're 0-4. Do less. Do less. Does that mean you gave them too much? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know the answer to that. I just know we got to get better. We got to, the insanity is doing the same thing, right? I mean, so that's what we do as coaches. Not for the quarterback, for the whole team. We did it on offense, we did it on defense, we did it on special teams. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Do the basics. Let the players play fast. Sometimes it takes that to do it, and sometimes that was the answer, and that's why. Sometimes it just works out to get you back on track and in rhythm.
To simplify, I mean, in follow up to that, with simplifying, do you have to tell Bryce it's okay to make mistakes so that he doesn't maybe kind of clamp down when stuff doesn't open up immediately?
Yeah, there's no question we tell, like he knows, but, you play quarterback in this league and throw it 40 times a game and are handling every game and have to make 75 decisions a game, or obviously a lot more than that. You're going to make some mistakes. Everybody does. Nobody plays a perfect game. So that's a conversation we've had from, hey, we got to move on to the next play. If you make a mistake, just move on to the next play. So we all know this guy's incredibly mature and got a great perspective. We know he's hard on himself, like all great players are. So I just think that's all normal and part of the process.
So do you simplify even more going in this week?
Yeah, you're always trying to streamline everything you can. So you're trying to streamline, and as we progress, like for instance, there's calls that were longer. Now that we're 6 weeks in, hey, we can find ways to shorten a couple other calls. So we continue to find ways to do some of that. So that might just be, hey, 1% a week that we simplify, or 2% a week. Let's continue to find ways to hone and sharpen our sword and get better.
The
When it
Dolphins,
comes to the running backs, Juba Hubbard slightly more snaps than Miles. Not sure if there's too much to come from that. But what do you like that he brings? And then also with LaVisca getting more touches, kind of in that more running back type role. What is it about those two guys in that room with Miles a little bit less certain that you like, that you want to see?
Yeah. So, Chuba has been a very good physical runner. He's had good yards after contact. He's a good player. He's just been a good player for us. LaVisca, same thing. He's kind of a power runner. Like, he's a big, strong man. And, he's dragging guys through the hole. And he's elusive on top of it. So he's been in that hybrid position where he can play receiver. We can put him in the backfield. We'll continue to do both. And then Miles was always the third piece. He was, hey, give him space. Let him, he can run inside. He's had a good career running inside. But also try to create space and find ways to get him the ball in space.
the Dolphins have the top offense in the league right now. Can you talk about the challenge that they pose defensively, and then also with those speedy receivers on the outside?
I mean, obviously, they're explosive in both the run and the pass. I mean, how many yards rushing they have is crazy. And, for me, as great as they are in the pass game, it starts with that run game. They have so much speed that, it softens coverage, and then they're able to take advantage of that. So, we got to find a way. That's why they've been so good on offense. They're explosive in the run game and the pass game. Coach McDaniels has done a good job, with those guys. They're executing at a high level. We love the challenge. We love the challenge. And so, again, it's going to be, how do we stop their speed? And we have a definite plan, to be sure. How do we slow that down is a better way to say it. How do we slow that down and yet also be able to handle their run game, which is the best in the league?
Right. What's the update on JC and Xavier?
Making very good progress. Making very good progress. I don't want to put a timetable on them, but really encouraged with JC's progress and Xavier. I would say they're both ahead of schedule, and encouraged by that.
What about Marquise?
We're gonna do a couple more.
Marquise doing well. You know, it's probably going to be another minute. You know, talked about him this morning, and you know he's making good progress, but we're still going week to week on that.
Frank, we talked last week to DJ about the locker room when Detroit was turning things around last year. We just said win 2-3 games in a row and everything changes. How do you maintain that spirit when the results haven't come yet?
Just a belief in one another. You know, looking at things we've done and seeing, hey, when we played well in spurts in defense, on offense, on special teams, you know we can play with anybody. There's a way to win every football game. There's a way to win every football game. Play good football, make teams beat us. You know, we know that. Plus, you just got highly competitive warriors, highly competitive dudes who, it doesn't matter, you know, I mean, I just can't imagine these guys ever changing. You know, I can't imagine it. I can understand it gets hard if you know, when you're 0-5. It is harder. But deep down, these guys are made of the right stuff. So it doesn't make it fun, but I don't think anybody's going to lose their desire to get better and the competitiveness. You know, I'm going to go win that. We're going to go win the next game. That's always going to be the mentality.
Frank, you have a sample size
Do this
of
David
Rice
Newton, then
now,
we'll do Mike K.
or do you feel like it's going to be easier to simplify that you know, hey, these are the 8, 9, whatever things he does well?
I think every week we get better, and I think every week we're getting better and honing in on, you know, what we do and why we like to do it, and you know what fits our offense, what fits our players. And I think when I look at the last game, you know, we take out the turnovers, you know, which we have to do. You take out the 6 pre-snap penalties, and you know, you look at what else we did, and it was a lot of good stuff.
Frank,
I would say, do you see any similarities in Tua and Rice at all?
A little bit. I hadn't really thought about it, but you know, both quick release, accurate. You know, can throw different arm angles, get the ball all over the field. Good decision makers. You know, enough not runners, but enough mobility to make, you know, move the pocket and make a play.
So JC, he can come off IR this week, right? And is there a possibility that happens? Would he be able to play?
I think we're going to just reevaluate that, you know, after the bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Frank,
Last one.
I know you've been asked about play calling and divvying up and parsing out that stuff, and you've been juggling all this stuff for 6 years. I'm just curious, from an operational standpoint, play calling aside, how have you maybe simplified it on the sideline for you and your staff, or have you altered anything that you guys did?
You know, I just think the operation, I think it's gotten better. I think it'll continue to get better, you know, understanding, you know, the procedural part, you know, with the players, with Bryce, and how we communicate to the receivers, you know, what personnel group we're in and stuff like that. I think that's getting better. I think our communication with Bryce and the wristband that we're now using, terminology shortage, I think that's gotten better. Game management things, you know, I think, you know, by and large, I know we have the right team in place. It doesn't feel like a lot to me because we got resourced. It's everything is, as I've said to you guys, it's very collaborative. I'm ultimately responsible for it and the key decision maker in those moments, but it's a collaborative process.
Could you
Thanks,
expand on the wristband real quick?
Yeah, just
When and why you went to?
a couple weeks ago, just you know, just to speed up the procedure, right? I mean, just if you say just pure math, you know, if you just do the pure math of it, it has to be faster. If I don't have to give the whole play call, if I can just say, hey, run number 37, you know, there's something to that. Now, you know, listen, I've called a lot of plays for a lot of quarterbacks that don't want to wear a wristband. I understand the other side of it. But the fact of the matter is, these days, in most offenses, if you want to move guys around in personnel and shift in motion, you can't do that without using language and words that that make the play call lengthy. So in those instances, you tend to use the wristband. But then what you do, just for the record, you know, because that tends to be sometimes passes. So you got to make sure that you have an equal number of runs on there so that the other team knows that when the quarterback's looking at the wristband, it's not just a run or it's not just a pass. You have to distribute those things out and make sure you self-scout all that stuff as well.
Just
All right,
to
listen,
clarify,
I
that
gotta-
was before the
we gotta-
Vikings, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Thank you.